The new golden age continues in one book, and the rising star of Future State gets her hands on the main Batman title. Well, one of them. Hello, I'm Chris. Welcome to these reviews of Action Comics number 1029 and Detective Comics number 1034. So starting off with Action Comics. First off, it's been a while since I've read the solicits, so I didn't know that Superman and Action Comics are actually going to split storylines. Like, they're going to share the same storylines, but one would be part 1, one would be part 2. I'll have to double check the other solicits to see if that's the case with the rest of them, but I didn't know that. So Action Comics number 1029 is actually part 2 of the Golden Age story, where Philip Kennedy Johnson is trying to rekindle the whole Superman Superboy father-son relationship again. So the Golden Age part 2, written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Phil Hester, coloring by Hi-Fi, and the cover by Hester, Hi-Fi, and Eric Apsteau. Same creative team, like both obviously writing and but mainly the art-wise, interiors and cover, same creative team as the Superman comic. So continuing on from part 1, which was in Superman, the breach has opened again. Superman and Superboy go to investigate, but John is worried that today of all days is the day that Superman just disappears, that supposedly dies, because John's been to the future, been in the Legion, he knows about the history of Superman, and he's worried that this is the supposed day that Superman will die. They go to the Starlab station. They find out what's going on. They realize, and they are told that Waller is behind what's going on, and it's connected to Superman. So Superman's going to deal with that at another time, but they have to deal with the breach. The problem is, the only way to close the breach more permanently this time is to close it from the other side. So Superman decides he's going to do it. He's the one up for the job. He's the one that can only do it, but he's injured, and obviously you have John worried, seeing that his father is injured, believing that this is the day that he will die, doesn't want him to go. So a small conflict arises of between the two, and I'll leave it there. I won't go too much into spoilers, but overall the story I would give I think it just barely gets a 4 out of 5. I think it's good. I think same with the previous issue. I like that that Philip Kennedy Johnson is trying to fix what Bendis kind of just threw away, the whole family dynamic with Superman. You could have got more great stories of Superman raising John naturally getting older, instead of just he comes back and he's just older, with what Bendis did. I'm liking what Kennedy Johnson is doing. I'm liking that essentially the father-son thing, building the bridges, the whole John's worried about his father possibly dying today. It's only done in 2 issues, so you don't need to draw it out for a trade. Essentially, I don't think the story overall is over, because there is a lead up to the next story, which kind of ties into what Philip Kennedy Johnson did in Future State, Superman Worlds of War, with a certain character. If you've read it, you probably know what character I'm referring to. But the Golden Age, it seems like, is only just 2 issues, and that's fine. It didn't feel like it was rushed. I think the pacing between the previous part 1 in Superman and now part 2, I think the pacing of it was good. It was nice. I liked it. The art, on the other hand, I'm still not the biggest fan of the art. It is very average. It's neither good or bad. It is just very average, plain art. So for that, I would give it a 3 out of 5, which I believe might have been the same rating I gave for Superman. I mean, and my thoughts on Superman and Action Comics, it's just they're now just technically just one title now. I mean, you could have just got rid of just Superman and just have it as Action Comics. No. But I think just because both titles have been going on for so long, DC feels like you kind of have to have both of them. It's same with Batman. You have both Batman and then Batman Detective Comics. Both have been going on for so long, and it's just gotta have to have both of them there. Part of me is like, well, I kind of wish we got something different with Action Comics, like, because me personally, I've always viewed it as Superman. The title has always been about like a Superman stuff. Well, mainly, yeah, primarily Superman. And then with Action Comics, it's more about not only just Superman, but then also his life as Clark Kent and everyone else around him as well. Like, especially with Rebirth, is definitely like a lot of life at like the Daily Planet. With Lois, it was kind of like it was essentially like the Superman and Lois comic. And then you also had stuff with John as well. And, it did that sometimes in Superman, but I feel like it kind of split it between the two. Superman really kind of delved into the family, and then you get to see more family stuff in Action Comics, but it's really more about like Clark and Lois's life, husband, wife, working at the Daily Planet. I feel like it, like that. I like this. You can get two different stories from essentially the same titles, but there are pros to having both the same writer on the comic. There's continuity being the first thing. It's going to be more consistent. There's not going to be like huge disparities with the continuity. Just like, okay, in this comic, Superman is trapped on, I don't know, Superman is trapped on Apocalypse, and then in Action Comics, at the same time, he's doing reporting stuff as Clark Kent. There's a huge continuity problem there. If Superman's trapped on Apocalypse, how could he be at the Daily Planet? So there's more of a consistent flow, continuity if it's the same writer. The story being split between two titles, I wish it was just kept to one. Should just keep it to either Superman or to Action Comics. Don't split it across the two. Like I said, I'll have to double check the solicits. Maybe it's just for those first two issues. But I feel like you shouldn't do that, because instead of having to pay for one comic for one storyline, you have to pay for two comics for the same storyline. A lot of people aren't going to particularly like that. Especially now with like the price increases with DC. I know the Batman stuff are getting like huge price increases, unfortunately. Superman and Action Comics seem to be staying at $4.99, but what's happening with Batman could happen to every other title. I mean, Superman Action Comics, main character, big character, more than likely it's probably going to see a price increase as well, and it's not going to be justified. Oh, and as usual, I didn't bother with the backup stories. I don't care about the backup stories. This is just a $3.99 or even a $2.99 comic. It does not need to be $4 to $5. So moving on to Detective Comics, written by Mariko Tamaki, Dan Mora, who did the art and the cover, and Jordie Bellaire, who did the colors. So, for those who are watching my Future State streams or the cutout segments on the channel, you know that I actually did like Dark Detective, surprisingly, because Mariko Tamaki doesn't have the best track record when it comes to comics. She's not particularly the best. She-Hulk was probably one of her worst comics, and then you have her upcoming I'm Not Starfire, which does not look good at all. So I was really worried with Mariko Tamaki taking over Detective Comics. So I checked out her Dark Detective stuff in Future State, and it was actually good. It was legitimately one of the best of Future State, surprisingly. Like I went in like I did have the thought in the back of my mind like this is going to be bad, and then I read it and I'm like, no, this is actually good. Like but it is still like stock Batman. She doesn't like, she's not kind of like, she doesn't have a like unique Batman like most writers would. Some iconic Batman writers have. It's like, okay, this is definitely this era's Batman, this era's writer, whatever. It's just stock Batman, which isn't bad, but honestly, if we could have gone worse, but wanted to at least check out this issue because I think there is a difference between writing a Batman in a potential future where he's not really 100% Batman anymore, compared to writing Batman in the present. Batman / Bruce Wayne, I should say. Because essentially she was writing Bruce Wayne in Dark Detective. In this one, she's writing Bruce Wayne and Batman. And going into the story, it's still continuing off the fallout, the aftermath of Joker War. You have Nakano, who is the current mayor, who's trying to push a anti-vigilante stance because of what happened to him in Joker War. Same old stuff. It's not particularly an original plotline, but that's not Tamaki's fault. I'd say that's more Tini and Tomasi's fault because they set that up. But Tamaki's continuing on with that. Essentially, Bruce is essentially another deconstruction, but it's not trying to be too overt, I would say. It's not like or pretentious with like a lot of deconstructions nowadays with superhero characters. Bruce is still Batman. He just doesn't have the Batcave. Like, he lost a lot of his money. It's very limited now because of what happened in Joker War. So he has to, as shown in this comic, he has a lot of like DIY mini Batcaves he has to use. He can't use the main one anymore. He doesn't have access to it. So he has to physically like make his own DIY caves to use. And he's not living in like the big mansion anymore. He's living in just an apartment, like in a neighborhood. But it's still like 100% Batman. It's not like Batman is like down in the dumps, just like it's like, oh no, can't be Batman anymore. No, he's still Batman. But the gala that the main Nakano is holding to present his whole his vision, the whole anti-vigilante stuff, is attacked by like remnants of the Joker gang, and that's essentially what happens. I don't know, there's some other stuff going on, but like why that heist by the former Joker gang members is a bit weird, but I won't go into too much spoilers. Story, I would give I'll give it 3.5 out of 5. I think it's above average. It's okay. It's not terrible, but it's not outstanding either. We do have a good indication of what Tamaki's writing style for Batman is, and it's narration. Like most of the time, most of the dialogue bubbles we have are of just Batman's thoughts of what's going on. So, which is similar to what she did in Dark Detective. So it's at least consistent, I would say. Art and coloring, I would give a 4 out of 5. I kind of wish that Dan Mora did everything. Like, I don't have anything against Jordi Belair, but like, I'm more used to Dan Mora. Dan Mora's stuff is a bit more brighter, more colourful. But I think with having Jordi Belair, it fits the overall kind of like Batman Gotham tone of like being darker. So it still works. I just prefer when Mora does everything, but I'm fine with that. Yeah, I liked it. Yeah, I like the cover. I like the interior art as well. So I think overall with Detective Comics, it was a decent start. but it's nothing too outstanding. It's not like you have to pick this up. Yeah, it's okay. But that's it for those reviews. Thank you everyone that was watching. You can like, subscribe, hit the notification bell, follow me on Twitter, check out my Twitch, check out the podcast as well. Doing that every week. That's fun. I really enjoy that. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye.